Hey guys, and welcome back to the Quick Slant on Green Bay Packer Nation and greenbaypackernation.com. Today I want to talk a little bit about, specifically about the coaching of this game against the Washington Redskins and what I think needs to improve. But of course, as always, before we do that, I do want to let you know, if you're new here and haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get notified whenever I post a new video. And also, if you have been here a while, we'd love to have you share this episode with your friends. So let's talk about the game scheme that we saw against the Redskins. Now, before we get too far into it, I do think this is definitely one of those relaxed kind of moments. We're only third game in, and while that game scheme looked atrocious, it's not like the season is over. We're still one game away from taking back the lead in the division and being on our way back to a playoff run. So I think we want to keep that in perspective right now, especially in light of how frustrating it can be to watch this team perform as poorly as it has. So let's talk about the offense. Obviously, with Aaron hurt, that changes things. That changes how McCarthy is able to plan for this game, to scheme for this game. I was a little disappointed that we didn't implement the run game more. There is a point at which you get far enough behind that you really have to start relying on some passes and some quicker scores. But we had plenty of time to be patient and let the run game take control. Even at halftime, we were only down by, 18 points, I think. That's not a big amount to surmount. So we could have relied more on the run game than we did. And I don't think that the Redskins really were keying on the run, despite the passing attack that the Packers typically will have. I think they weren't stacking the box, and obviously we were averaging 6 yards a carry with both Williams and Jones. FYI, I thought it was great to see Jones back in action and doing well again. I was disappointed with the initial drive. Usually that's McCarthy's best drive. I mean, he plans it out and it works like clockwork. I think it's the biggest factor in the first half of the game, why the offense was not firing on all cylinders, was simply number one, that players were dropping passes that they should not have been dropping. That was a big key, and that's part of the reason I think we need to take this ugly loss with a grain of salt, because we all know that Randall Cobb's going to bounce back and perform like Randall Cobb performs. He'll do that in coming games. That's without a question. I was disappointed in McCarthy's lack of use of the tight ends. We really only have one tight end that is a good blocker of any substance, and that's Marcedes Lewis. I don't even think he touched the field. With a run game that was working that well, why was he not in more? And when Jimmy Graham was in, we hardly went to him. We hardly schemed to get him open. We hardly implemented him into the offense at all. So I was disappointed in that. That was the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, once again, this is all kind of raw, just from memory from the game. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the playback of the game, but the defense did quite well in the second half. Again, like we did with the Bears. We did quite well in the second half. Why are we waiting until the second half to accomplish anything? What is changing at halftime? Or is there anything changing at halftime? It seems to me that throughout the first half of this game, Pettine didn't even call any stunts, so it was basically straight up guy on guy trying to win matchups, and it was not working. why we're not seeing the smoke and mirrors that we had heard so much about with Pettine's defense, I don't know. Now, in the second half, we saw a lot of it, and it worked, except that they kept calling Clay Matthews on atrocious penalties. So there are other things in the defense that I think we need to get straightened out. The problems our defensive backs had in trying to stay with and stay in the mix on plays, I think that's coaching staff. I don't think the staff is coaching these guys up properly, which is something that can change and can get better. I think we definitely missed having Kevin King in this game. I think it was not a bad idea to pick up House when we picked him up, but he was not a long-term solution. So I think that needs to be fixed. Later tonight, I do want to dig deep into the Clay Matthews sack and kind of revisit this, because this is just getting utterly ridiculous. Especially because there were 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers that I thought the defender put more weight on Aaron Rodgers than Clay Matthews ever did on his sacks. So we'll cover that tonight. But in the meantime, I do want to hear what you guys think about how McCarthy and Pettine were scheming the game, and what things you thought were glaringly wrong about how they managed this game against the Redskins. Love to hear from you in the comments below. And until next time, go Pack.